what in the world is happening with King County real estate? Let's check it out because it is juicy. Ready? Are you ready? I think you're ready. Okay. Uh, you're looking at supply and demand graph for the last 5 years right here, people. This is green is the supply, the blue is the demand. Green is new listings came to market. Blue is the houses that went off the market. Supply, demand, not just a good idea. It's the law. All right. And that's what you see here. So a couple of things. We had questions, if you remember, last month. Was inventory going to match pre-pandemic levels? This over here, these levels over here, 2019, or was it even going to get back to just even pandemic levels of inventory? Because last year was a disaster in terms of inventory. Number of units sold, it's just no one was selling last year. All right, so we're up over last year. You can see that, right? We're 2,500 last year at the peak, and we are at 3,200 here. Or that can't be right. It's over 3,000. So, about 3,200. But we never got back to even pandemic levels. And certainly didn't get back to pre-pandemic levels. And what I'm saying is that's it. We're not getting any more inventory. So that's it. A number of transactions, it's going to stay here or go down. It's just July isn't going to be more listings than June. It's already dipping in it's just not. Okay. Yeah, here's June. Oh, I see. June was 2,700. So really the peak was in May. Ha ha. All right. So that's unusual. It's unlikely we're going to see this big explosion of listings in July. Now, maybe I could be wrong. I've been wrong. I remember I was wrong once. We'll see, but we're close. We're at least predictably close to the top. We're not going to get all the way up here into pandemic levels and certainly not getting to pre-pandemic. The most interesting piece of this. So one thing is inventory pretty much is at its peak. The number of transactions possible is at its peak. That's for realtors out there watching this. Not going to get a ton better. Okay. And you just got to plan for the end of the year. And the normal sort of history with listings is they go down at the end of the year. Transactions go down at the end of the year, which if you're a seller, makes no sense. You should be listing when the other people aren't because supply and demand. Now, what you do want to know here is to look at the demand. Demand is the same as last year. It's not at pandemic levels of demand, and it's certainly not pre-pandemic levels of demand. It's the same demand as last year with more listings. What does that mean? Supply and demand. It means there's more supply relative to the demand than there was last year. So prices have to stay flat or come down a little bit. If you're selling, you cannot price your house like it was the pandemic. We had someone on my team sold a house. They got 3 offers and it went $7,000 of asking. And the seller was disappointed because because in their mind is, I'm going to get, no, you're not. You're not. If you don't price it right, you're going to sit on the market and you're going to need to reduce that price quickly. It is not happening anymore. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. You are looking at more inventory relative to last year and the same number of buyers. That's can only mean prices are flat or come down. There's just nothing else to say about that. So if you're a buyer, find those unrealistic sellers. I will help you. And we will find them and we will negotiate an offer that's fair. Better for you as a buyer, but fair. Because that's what the market demands. And that's what this market is demanding. So, and this is predictably, if I'm wrong about the number of homes coming up, right? If I'm wrong and we haven't hit our peak, it's only going to get worse for sellers. And it could, because just anecdotally, the number of listings I have coming on at the end of the year I have more listings coming on than I've had all year. So anecdotally, I can see that there is more inventory coming, but the buyers are flat. I mean, maybe they come up a little, but you really got to price it aggressively if you're going to get that house sold. Okay. It's still not a buyer's market, but it is certainly not what people have in recent memory. Recency bias will tell you it's a hotter market than it is. And it just is not right now. Okay. If you got questions about your situation, that's what I am here for. I'd love to help you with that. Give me a call, pick up the phone, message me. You know how to reach me. It is not that difficult. Subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. And I will talk to you later. Party on, Wayne. What in the world is happening with Pierce County real estate? Well, let's look. Okay. If you watch the King County video, this is not radically different in terms of this last year, this month, the current year we're in relative to last year. There's differences, but this month we're going to see the same picture as King County. What is that picture? Well, if you look, you're looking at supply and demand. Green is the supply. New listings came to market. Blue is the demand. Number of homes that came off the market. And you could see in the summer months, we generally hit our peaks. Well, we just hit a peak in May. That's June here. This is June. This is our little peak. Look at our little peak. And then it came down. Okay. Well, that's our peak. I mean, maybe we wind up like one of these where it's August continues up. Maybe there's a dip. Maybe it comes up a little bit, right? There's July last year was high, but it can't surprise you if this is the peak. And even if it's not the peak, where's the peak going to be? Here? So point is, we're more inventory than last year. We're not at pandemic levels of inventory, and we're not at pre-pandemic levels of inventory. It's increasing. So from a number of sales transaction units sold kind of view, realtor centric view, less transactions. And what's predictable is that number just goes down as the year ends because sellers somehow think selling in the summer is better. I don't know why. It's not true. You want to sell when there's less supply, not when there's more supply. It doesn't make any sense, but people sell when they sell and let them sell. Okay. But there you go. So if you're planning your budget, you know that money's coming down, right? I mean, maybe July pops up. Maybe July becomes more than June. It's certainly possible that this was just a momentary dip and it's going up, but you can't argue that it's coming back to these levels. You're not going to jump 500 new listings in Pierce County. So that's one thing. Second thing is look at the buyers, look at the blue, look at the demand. It's the same as last year. You have more inventory with the same demand, more supply, same demand, more supply, same demand. What does that mean? That means prices are going to stay flat or come down. Not a lot. There's still a dearth of inventory, but relative to the overall picture of what could be sold. But the month to month of it is there is more supply with less demand than there was last year. There's more supply and less demand than there were in the last couple of years. So what does that mean? That means if you're selling, you need to price it reasonably. You need to price it to the current market, not what you could have gotten 2 years ago. You're just not going to get that. And if you're buying, you want to find the people that don't understand what I just said. The ones that have been sitting on the market overpriced where you can negotiate something down and you don't have to do a pre-inspection and you're not in a bidding war. Because houses that are priced right are going to still get a bidding war. Houses that are priced wrong are going to sit. And if you're a buyer, you should be able to find a house that sits, especially this time of year. If we've hit the peak, come July, come August, come September, those houses are sitting. Those sellers are going to get anxious. So if you're selling, don't be one of those people. Price it right. If you're buying, find those people. If you need help with any of that, let me know. That's what I'm here for. Aaron Hendon with Christine Company over at EXP. Talk to you soon. What in the world is happening with Snohomish County real estate? Well, look at this, people. So exciting. You're looking at supply and demand last 5 years. Green is the supply. Green is the supply. Number of homes that came to market. Blue is the demand. Houses that got sold. All right, what do you see? Well, look at that green. That green is higher than last year. It's not up in pandemic levels and it's not pre-pandemic levels. But it's better than last year, meaning more homes are for sale, better for buyers, worse for sellers, more supplies like that. But it's significantly better for buyers than it was last year because there's more supply and the demand is the same. Not only that, but if you're in real estate, this could be the peak. We normally peak out in June. This is June, April, May, June. Here's June. That's July. So maybe it comes up a little bit. Maybe it jumps a little bit in July, but maybe that's the peak. It's certainly not going to be a far off. And there's no evidence that demand is going to bump up. So that means this, okay? If you're selling, you cannot get what you could have gotten for it 2 years ago. You won't get multiple offers like you could. You can't, you just got to be careful on how you price that. And if you sit on the market, the buyers, the smart buyers are going to come in and correct you, and you will have lost the opportunity to get a bidding war. So if you're selling, price it right. You'll still get a bidding war, but it's not going very high over asking. If you're buying, find the people that don't understand what I just said. The ones that are sitting in the market for 30 days, 60 days, that don't want to hang on to their house through the new year. Because come August, September, this gap is a big deal. And those homes that started in the market now that don't sell then, you should be able to get a bargain. Let me know if you're selling, you need to price it right. If you're buying, you want to find the people that didn't. That's the base level of this. So let me know if I can help in either of those scenarios. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company, ADXP Realty. Talk to you soon. What in the world's happening with Kitsap County real estate? Well, look at this graph. Look at it. What is this graph? This graph is a supply and demand graph for the last 5 years. Green, supply. New listings that came to market. Blue, demand. Homes that went off the market. And what do you see? Well, you got more inventory than you did last year. That's one thing. You're not at pandemic levels of inventory. Well, you're just over the actual start of the pandemic, but you're not where you were during the heart of the pandemic. But you are more than last year. And last year was a disaster for inventory, for transactions, number of transactions, disastrous for people like me. But here you go, more inventory. Now, did we hit the peak? Is this the top? Is it going up a little bit? I wouldn't be surprised if this was the peak, and it wouldn't kill me if it was over in July, but I can't see the pathway to getting to this level of inventory. So, that's really for the realtors watching this in terms of planning for number of transactions. It's probably not going better than this month. Maybe July gets a little bit better, but start preparing for winter. Then the number of buyers, this is interesting because this is not the case in King County, Pierce County, or Snohomish. There are more buyers. Buyers are moving to Kitsap. Okay. Now they're not, the delta is probably pretty close to last year. It's not radically different than it's been in the past. So it's probably a little bit easier to sell in Kitsap than it has been. Okay. It's probably a little bit easier to, price, a little more flexibility on price. But if you are looking to sell your house, I still caution you, you are not going to get the prices you could have gotten 2022, 2021, definitely not coming back. So you're not getting multiple offers, bidding wars, things like that, unless you price it just right. If you price it just right, you will. Okay. You got to have realistic expectations. And if you're a buyer, find the people that don't have realistic expectations that you can hammer on price, because the market isn't going to pay them what they think that house is worth. A house is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it, not what a seller thinks it's worth. Seller may say it's not worth selling at that price, but they still don't get to say how much the home is worth. Buyers, you do. So if you're looking for someone in this big gap here, let me know. I'd love to help you with that. Any questions you have about pricing your home on Kitsap or finding a home on Kitsap, I'd love to help you with that. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company at EXP Realty. I'll talk to you soon. What in the world is happening with Vashon real estate? Mind-blowing. Well, no, not really. But you're looking at the supply and demand graph for the last 5 years on Vashon. Green is the supply, number of homes available. New listings came to market. Blue is demand, number of homes that went off the market. And what do you see? Well, again, keeping Vashon weird. We had more listings come to market in June than any time in the last 4 years, really up until 2019. That's a big deal. More listings than any time in the last 4 years. That's unusual. None of the other counties are like that. And buyers are about where they were last year. in the last couple of years. It's a little bit off, a little bit low, meaning there's better selection on Vashon and less competition than there has been in any time in the last 4 years, really 5 years. It's amazing opportunity to buy on Vashon. If you're selling on the island, you got to be really careful about how you price this. Okay. Different price points move at different rates on the island. If you price it right, you'll still sell because it's still a destination, a place for people want to live, but it's not what it was during the pandemic. And that's not coming back. So houses are sitting longer. And if you price it wrong, they're going to sit for a really long time. And you are going to wind up losing money if you don't take that first offer. General rule of thumb. Okay. And you need to price it intelligently. If you're buying, you have not had this kind of selection and this kind of opportunity to leverage price in the last 4 years. Just it hasn't happened. Now prices aren't going to collapse. There's still more demand than there are houses. It's not like we're looking at a crash. Under $500,000 houses are not making a comeback, but 7 offers, 100,000 over asking ain't coming back either. There's room to negotiate for buyers that there just has not been. So if you're looking to sell on Vashon and you need help pricing that and getting it sold for the most, or you're looking to buy on Vashon and you want to be able to leverage the opportunity that you have right now, that's what I'm here for. Aaron Hendon with Christine and Company at eXp Realty, and I'll talk to you soon.